everyone, David Aragona here with Craig Milkowski, and we are taking a look at the Bertram F. Bongard Stakes from Sunday at Belmont Park. It's the fourth race on that Sunday card for the New York-bred two-year-olds going 7 furlongs. And Craig, it's just a field of 5 runners, but at least this is one where all of these two-year-olds are pretty evenly matched from a speed figure standpoint, a lot of them coming out of the same race, that funny side from late in the Saratoga meet.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of races like this where we do look at horses that have matched up before, particularly when we think there might be a change, as we're going to get to talking about in the order of finish. So yeah, this for a 5-horse field, sometimes you can find value in them, and I think this might be one of those spots.
All of these two-year-olds are pretty lightly raced. The number 2 Surprise Boss, who I've got as the longest shot in the morning line at 8-1. He's the most experienced of these with 5 starts under his belt. But most of these just have 2 races and are coming out of that funny side, so they faced off against each other. And Craig, I guess that gives us a little bit more confidence in this Timeform US pace projector we're going to show. And Senbei, who had the early lead in the funny side last time, he is projected to be on the front end this time. But with such a small field, we're not predicting or characterizing the pace as necessarily being fast.
Yeah, there's not a ton of speed in here. I certainly have no problem with Senbei. He's led wire to wire both starts, been clear most of the way, and he went pretty quick last time. One of the fractions even in red with a 109 pace figure at the half mile. So I don't think there's any surprise in what his strategy is going to be.
And speaking of that funny side stakes, I think it's one that's essential to go back and watch, especially looking at the start of the race. And let's take a look at a replay of the head-on of the start and notice the number 3, Shipsational, just gets slammed from both sides coming out of the starting gate. And right after that, takes another really hard bump about 10 strides out of the gate, actually by Happy Happy Bee, who's back in this race. We'll pick it up at the top of the stretch. And Craig, there you see the number 1, Senbei, who really had no problem making the front end here. Set some legitimate fractions, but he was out of all of that trouble. Shipsational, though, he's on the far left of the screen with the pink cap. He actually does well to make up some ground after that trouble at the start.
He does. And I mean, I have no knocks on Senbei. It's not like he had an easy lead. He was pressured most of the way. As mentioned earlier, he ran a quick pace figure, 109 to the half mile. So he didn't do anything wrong in here. I just think this is a race where there's more upside from Shipsational. He's a horse who, even reading the trouble comment, which in our Timeform US PP says rough start, bump steadied after the start. It was even worse than that. He definitely lost some ground, lost some position, and I really liked his gameness in here. He was still able to run on, make a decent showing with an okay 4th, but obviously it was much better than it looks. And he's a horse who should appreciate the extra half furlong as well. They were making up ground on Senbei, and the extra distance can't hurt.
Yeah, as you see in the Timeform US PP, Senbei is coming in off the highest last out Timeform US speed figure, a 98. But Craig, the pace of that race, there is one fraction that's color-coded in red, so it is bumped up quite a bit, this Timeform US speed figure, from the final time number of 88. So Senbei did get a much higher number than the other horses coming out of that race. But I think that that's somewhat mitigated by the fact that, as you said, Shipsational had some trouble. Happy Happy Bee just coming out of a loss in a maiden race. So they had some more adversity to deal with, coming through kickback or dealing with the trouble that Shipsational did. So I think stretching out to the 7 furlongs, I'm not sure that Senbei's advantage is going to be quite as pronounced this time. There is another horse, though, coming out of a different race that we should discuss, and that's the number 4, Whittington Park, who I've got listed at 5-2 on the morning line. Let's take a look at the replay of his base victory last time, because he was pretty visually impressive. I just question how strong this field was.
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree with that. As we watch this replay, he's a horse who just is galloping on the front end, but his view in the Timeform US PP just isn't nearly as impressive. He set what was a pretty slow pace. He was clear the whole way, never pressured. One of our fractions is in blue. Compared to Senbei, his half mile pace figure was only a 79, so a full 30 points slower. And it's also a day we have color coded in red as one of those days that was really speed advantage. So I definitely am downgrading his performance.
Yeah, I tend to agree a little bit. I feel like that might have been an exaggerated victory, and he's going to have to deal with Senbei on the front end this time. So as we throw up our picks for this race, as you can see, and based on our comments, you probably know, we agree in this race. We both landed on the number one, Shipstational. We'll see what kind of price we get. I listed him at 3-1 on the morning line. He is going to have to improve his speed figure a little bit, but I think based on the trouble he had last time, he's going to put forth a better effort here. The one question I do have about Shipstational, Craig, is that if you look at his pedigree, it is a gigantic turf pedigree. And I sometimes wonder if these horses that are so obviously bred for one surface are going to continue to go on a distance on the dirt. But as far as he's run so far, it's been fine on the dirt. So I'm not going to put too much stock in that. But he is one moving forward I would like to see him try the turf with. But I think he is the right horse to take based on trips last time in this Bertram F Bongard. And I know you agree, Craig.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And the one horse I almost bought into in here was Surprise Boss, but it's similar to what you said. His big jump up came on turf. And when you look at his breeding, he's a horse who seems to be more suited to that surface. So the turn back to dirt was something I was tempted by, but the more I dug deeper, I'm just not a fan of him and think he'll probably do better if he gets back on turf.
So it's Shipstational for both of us in the Bertram F Bongard. Remember to subscribe to the Daily Racing Forum channel if you liked this content, and you can get more videos like this from Dan Illman, Mike Beer, and Brad Free previewing the upcoming weekend stakes races. So thanks for tuning in, and good luck if you're playing this weekend.